Hi guys, welcome to the show. I'm Manny.
I'm Terrence.
And today our show is going to focus solely on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Right.
Now this is a spoiler review, so if you haven't seen it, please shut us off and go watch the movie before you watch this video.
And if you haven't seen it, where the hell have you been? Because everybody's seen this movie by now.
We're going to break the movie down similar to how we break down our movies on You Don't Hate, and that's going to be by plot, by acting, directing, action sequences, and characters.
Right.
Okay? So, Terrence, you saw the movie.
Yes.
I saw the movie.
Right.
Two completely different opinions on it. So why don't we break down, and Terrence, give us the plot of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
You know what's funny? Is that when I walked out this movie, I said to myself, what the hell was that movie about? I had to think about, like, what the hell was that movie about? And basically, I guess if we're going to talk about the plot of this movie, is that we find the Guardians basically still almost kind of say like guns for hire type deal.
Mercs.
Yeah, mercenaries, I guess is what we would call them, out there doing jobs. And at this particular point, they're doing jobs for the race called the Sovereign, led by their golden goddess, Aisha. Aisha, if you're back in the 90s. But they're doing jobs for them, and while they're doing a job, and I guess this is a spoiler review, we can go ahead and take care of that. While they're doing a job for her, they almost kind of double cross her in a unsuspecting way, but Rocket double crosses her, and they go on the run from them because they stole the batteries that they were highly praised, which I wasn't familiar with. Like I said, nobody is a really big fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy comic book, so I didn't know how important these batteries were. So they took the batteries, but they stress the importance of the batteries in the movie. They go on a run from the Sovereign, and while they're on the run, Star-Lord actually finds his father. So we finally get to meet who is actually Star-Lord's father in this film. And from that point, we get to figure out him reuniting with his father and how their relationship is going to go forward, them being on the run, and actually kind of being divided in this film. The Guardians team is actually in two different places at one time, as well as the overall theme of this movie with Vin Diesel being there. And I wish Groot had said it instead of having Batista say it. But family is what this movie is about. They should have had Groot said it. It would have tied it perfectly to Fast and the Furious.
Fast in the Galaxy.
Fast in the Galaxy. The fastest in the galaxy. The fate of the galaxy.
Fate of the Guardians.
But that's pretty much the setup and the premise of this film. Where it goes from there, we'll get a little bit further when we talk a little bit more in depth about what takes place in this movie throughout our topics. But that's how it sets up. Right away, with me and the setup in this movie, I was lost at the beginning to where, like, I really didn't know where this film was going.
I thought what it was is that now these characters are already established in the first Guardians. Mm-hmm. So it's just an adventure. It's a new adventure.
It's just a new adventure.
Yeah, it's a new adventure. They're
it's like A-Team. They just show up.
Exactly. They just show up, and then and the van does nothing but kick rocks. So
there's always a gravel parking lot.
Exactly. So it picks off right during their one of their missions, right. And it's the characters don't need any kind of origin or anything like that. So they go off right from there. What I don't get is, do you really have to kill them for taking batteries? Just give them back. Hey, your little raccoon thing, they took my batteries. Can you tell them to bring them back, please? Hey, thanks. Here you go.
But movie over. It was just a plot device for some particular reason, because they really didn't say, I mean, outside of them wanting them and protecting them, it was like they really had no purpose.
But, foreshadowing purposes, I guess, or foreshadow, I don't know. You knew that it was going to come in handy one way or another.
They call it a MacGuffin. These damn batteries were a MacGuffin. It was
regardless, I mean, I thought, the theme of it, you're right. It was family, but it was more than that. I think it was the father-son dynamic that was actually highlighted more in this movie. Mm-hmm. And because of it, I thought, it kind of hit home for me. So it was really, really, it was good. I thought it was good. Overall, I mean, the plot is just the adventure and him finding his roots and these these new things about his life that he had no idea about. Who knew that he was a celestial being, a product
that was cool. I liked that part when they got to that. when they got to that. I did like that part, but I will say them being on the run from the Sovereign went on way too long. I think that they could have focused more on the Ravagers. I think they could have focused more, even though they got a significant portion.
I was about to say, I thought that they balanced it pretty good.
And they could have focused more on Ego. To be honest, I just think this whole thing with Aisha could have been done at the beginning of the movie when they went on the run. That's fine. They were on the run, and then they got into their own separate things. It didn't have to keep coming up.
You think that it should have been more?
You know, the little tadpole spaceships keep coming up in the start. It's like I got tired of it by like the third time I saw it on the screen.
So you think it would have been better, kind of like to bookend it?
Yes, if they'd have showed it at the beginning, it was like they were on the run, and while they were on the run, these things happened, and then at the end they tie it back in. Right, it was like by having them go into the.
Fair enough.
I was like, this is such a waste.
But regardless, I thought that it was good. I liked it. Okay, you did not like it. I liked it.
I didn't like the setup. There's things I like about the movie. I didn't like the setup of it.
Next is the acting. Now we got some pretty good actors. Chris Pratt is still fairly new to the Hollywood game, I think. Zoe Saldana's she's got some acting chops. #1 movie in the world of all time with Avatar. So she has that under her belt. Batista's still learning.
Yeah,
he's still learning.
He's got better. He got way better in this film than he was in the first one. And he gets a lot of credit for the first one because I was like, ooh, it was kind of hard for me to get through the first one in his acting. But this one was way better than what he had done previously.
But what I liked about the acting in the first one, to be honest with you, was that he was his just dead face humor.
Yeah,
his deadpan humor was what got him over.
That's what everybody likes about his character.
But he wasn't like that in this one.
No, they tried to show a little bit more emotion in his family.
And I thought that I thought that when him and Mantis are talking,
that whole little thing with them,
that was great. That was great. And you got to see a little bit more of the serious side of him and the vulnerability of him.
But we can talk more about his character.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Characters, but like the acting.
I did like his acting. He's still learning. I think he's got some of the acting has a lot to do with Gunn. Mm-hmm. So you can't really blame him too much for that. But
I mean, if he's gonna be in this franchise, I think they really need to get him an acting coach and stick with it full time, so that way we can see more improvement. Like I said, it's better than what he gave me in the first one.
Right.
I expect more in the third one when we get there. But I will say that for what he did a good job.
I'm gonna go with Rooker too, man. I thought Rooker was my MVP.
Rooker was one of the best parts of this film.
Yeah, Rooker was definitely my MVP of the movie. His acting was really good in it. He took Yondu in a different direction in a way from the first one.
Yeah,
and
it actually to me it kind of tied who he was in the first one together, and I was like, because once he started revealing more, once
even the flashback scenes.
Let's stop with the characters. Once he started once he got to portray the emotion of Yondu, that we didn't see in the first one. He was just kind of like, oh, he's just a scoundrel. This like he really got to shine through with his acting capability and bring it out. And I was like, he's doing an amazing job.
I thought the ending as well when you see him and the emotion he gives.
Yeah, the emotion that he gives in it was like, it was like how much he cares.
Yeah. I thought it was great.
Chris Pratt. Are we moving
Pratt was Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt. He Chris Pratted all over the movie.
He Pratted the hell out of that movie. He Pratted the hell out of that movie.
Bradley Cooper.
Cooper is freaking awesome. I love Bradley Cooper as Rocket. He gives so much freaking. He is so animated. Now, if you guys have never seen Cooper in action, as far as behind the scenes, go and YouTube that. He is freaking. He gives it his all when he's in there, and he acts everything out. He's amazing. He's like freaking awesome.
And I know we made an A-Team joke, but hey, he's face.
Yeah, he's face. Vin.
As Baby Groot, you have 3 lines to say. You have 3 lines to say, and then they changed it. They did change the pitch, so it didn't really sound like you at all. It was like, so I mean, he gets a pass. Yeah, the chipmunk did it. It's like he gets a pass of it. Like it could have been a bad job. They could have been using the same 3 lines he used in the first movie. He probably didn't even show up to do recordings. He just reads those lines.
No, he didn't.
And I was like, I mean, we wouldn't have really known. But we'll talk about the Baby Groot character when we actually get to characters. Nebula. I thought this was a weak spot.
You thought Nebula was a weak spot?
I think she overacted in her scenes.
Some of them were overacted. I thought the attempt at humor was forced.
Ah, God.
So she was very pouty. Kind of.
I thought even though
she looked great.
Yeah, she looked. I just didn't like her scenes. I didn't like her scenes at all. Every time I was like, she would say a line, and it seemed like the scene was going well, and then she'd get to a line, it just kind of made you cringe, like, stop.
I felt that when she bit and said it wasn't ripe.
Yeah.
I did.
That joke was oh God. Can we get to the joke?
All right, let's go. One of the things that made the first Guardians what it was is the humor in it, and this one did not disappoint. As a matter of fact, I think that some of the humor in part 2 exceeds the first one, but some of it is a little campy at times, and it can be forced. Like I said, it can be forced here and there.
The fruit joke ran too long.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, very much so.
The fruit joke ran too long. The taser face ran too long.
The taser face ran too long, but it hit the right spots. I was so. I got it when Raccoon when Rocket said it, then they shouldn't have said it again until he met the gold girl.
Yeah, so
and said it, and she started laughing. That was hilarious. I thought it was funny.
I thought it was too much.
No, but it was too much with if. That's what I said.
Okay, and then just left it at Rocket,
right,
and then continue that scene, and then have it come up again, and it just like surprise you, maybe. All right, but he beat it to death.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. But that was more Cooper than anything. I thought that Cooper kind of helped with that.
He beat that damn joke to death. So when she said it, I was just like, oh,
here we go. I thought, but either way, that movie was hilarious. Same thing with Drax.
Drax, his comedy, which was like when we saw in the trailers when he laughed at Star-Lord for Mantis.
That was too much. That was a little too much. But
when he was making fun of Mantis, it was like his whole scenes with Mantis were really good. Like that was a major part of this movie was his relationship with Mantis.
At the end when he tells her that she is beautiful and then he just cuts and says on the inside.
On the inside.
I thought that was hilarious. Yeah, because it was so stone faced.
There were some things that hit and then some things that did not hit.
And you know what
made me was like, oh God, it was like y'all should have Ryan Reynolds this and like. Okay, look, these jokes work, these jokes don't work. We're gonna get rid of this.
Takes it too far sometimes too, you know. He goes on and on sometimes.
He does, and they cut those scenes out. Right. If you saw the deleted scenes from Deadpool, they took all the extra stuff off. When he went on a tirade about freaking Fox, they took all that out. When he was like, he went on a full thing when the bridge scene, when he was out there with Colossus, there's like a deleted scene where he like just went on and on about the damn super suit. And I'm saying, I'm glad they took that out. I was like, because I would have been mad. I was like, because that was way too much, and that's how I felt with Guardians and that taser face routine.
Well, I agree with you. I agree with you on that. But I do admit that when he said it again to the lady and the lady laughed, I thought that was freaking hilarious.
They had not beat it to death.
Exactly. I thought it was funny. Well, either way, the if you're looking for funny, it is funny. Right, I thought it was very funny. Okay, so next one is the action sequences.
Okay.
This movie's freaking, it's got some good action scenes.
No, it does. It opens with a great scene versus the
monster thing, yeah.
What was it called?
Tremors.
It was called Tremors.
Tremors in space.
Tremors in space. But Obelisk, or I forget what this stupid monster was called. But that action scene was cool. The action scene where they fought Ego from the inside, I thought was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. The rocket scene where he set the traps when they were coming
that was like honestly that was my favorite scene.
That was cool. I like that. Him jumping through the trees and stuff. I was like, oh wow, we actually get to see him do stuff.
That was my favorite scene in the whole movie, to be honest with you. I mean, there were some good ones, but that one sticks out the most.
Sorry, Deadpool, you fell.
Deadpool fell?
Deadpool. Uh-oh. There you go. Read Moby Dick there.
So yeah, so that was good. Some of the space scenes were good, especially in the beginning.
I mean, like
when Kurt Russell saves the day in the beginning, that was great.
I was done with Sovereign. There was too many Sovereign chases for me at that point.
All right. So what do you think? I mean, more or less, I think the action sequences are the winner.
I think the action scenes were pretty good. I didn't have any problem with the action scenes. Like I said, I was kind of done with the Sovereign chasing them so much, and basically it was a video game for them because they had all these extra ships that just keep sending out and getting blown up. Or the Drax scene where he was hanging off the back, and I was like, can he breathe?
So I guess my thing was,
and then he crashed to the planet. Yeah, did he survive?
How did he survive that? Exactly. Did he get stabbed with any of those tree branches or anything like that?
So I mean, it's a comic book movie, some unrealism there, and
yeah, the whole thing where they're actually piloting these things from their base and that there's nobody really in there in the ships.
Yeah.
I thought that was really stupid.
I thought that once again.
There was something about it I did not like. But anyway, all right. So
I thought they should.
We beat that dead.
I was like, they should escape, and Kurt Russell saves them. And then when it kept showing up, and I'm like, dude, okay, enough.
Now let's get into the characters.
All right,
characters. You have your returning altered fifth, but you have your returning Star-Lord, which Chris Pratt plays flawlessly.
This is where I think the movie shined.
On the characters themselves.
On the characters
Absolutely. But I think that's what made the first Guardian so good, is because of the characters and the chemistry between all of them. Gamora was great.
We got to find out more of her relationship between her and Nebula.
Right.
The whole sister thing.
Rivalry, sibling rivalry.
Thanos, and why Nebula really hates Gamora, and she gives you a good reason, even though she overacts the reason. She gives you a good reason, but the way they did it with each character and revealing something about what we learned in the first movie, they did a good job in doing it, just not interacting. They did a good job in doing it, and it really made you like, I get it now. So we were talking about Gamora and Nebula, but when we talk about Star-Lord and Yondu, that was the best part of it. Like I said, Yondu's character was great.
Yeah.
Him really revealing like why he didn't turn Star-Lord over, why he kept him and taught him and raised him and stuff like that, and why he felt such a connection to where he let him get away with so much stuff, because it was like a son to him. And I was like, that was such a great way to play that with Yondu in this film. I thought that was amazing. Did you have something to say on that?
Well, no, the whole paternal vibe that Yondu gave, and it was really the heart of the whole movie. And I'm Mary Poppins, y'all, is the freaking line of the summer. That's all I gotta say about that. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. But I thought the character was great. Baby Groot stole the show for me.
Obviously.
Now, even though Yondu / Rooker was the MVP, Baby Groot stole the damn show.
Baby Groot was the BB-8 of Guardians of the Galaxy. That's what it was. Baby Groot was the BB-8.
BBG.
BBG.
Baby Groot. Yeah, it was. Yeah, that character was just awesome, especially when he turned into a teenager. That was so freaking funny. In the post-credit scene, it was freaking hilarious.
What was the other characters in it? So it's like we got Star-Lord and Ego.
Now you got the Tango and Cash that come out, right? So you got Kurt Russell, who everybody kind of knew that he was going to be playing Star-Lord's dad.
Quite some time.
And I thought that from the beginning, which I'm gonna tell you right now, the special effects to de-age Kurt Russell was perfection.
Marvel owns de-aging.
Yeah, and so give Marvel Tango and Cash so we can get part 2, please. Thanks.
Oh my God, that would be so amazing. Marvel, please do that.
But and you talked about de-aging in pieces and stuff. I thought it was the right amount of de-aging.
They showed him so much on screen, and they showed him in motion. I was so impressed with the de-aging.
It was amazing.
I thought it was really. I thought it was going to lose the effect when he started moving around and stuff like that, and talking and singing and being out in different areas in light. A lot of times they would like hide stuff in shadows, like they Tarkined. It was like he was in dark areas and stuff like that.
But Downey in
Downey was right, but it was a stationary scene. He stood still for the whole scene. With Michael Douglas, he stood still for the whole scene. And basically in this one, he was out in different areas. They had different scenes with him in. They own de-aging. It was like, so whatever technology they have, everybody licensed this technology from them, so that way we can see de-aging all across the board. So when we get to
Tron,
Aliens,
the Redemption,
when we get to Aliens 3, or Tron Redemption, we can do it right this time. Disney, look, you took an L for Tron. Now you perfected it. They can't give you Tron anymore. Yeah, exactly. Do Tron again. But when we get to Ripley in Aliens 3, we can see the de-aging done right, and but that's another.
Anyway, so
the relationship between Star-Lord and Ego.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was. At first, you're not too sure, and then when you start seeing Mantis's reaction. You start questioning, like, what's his motive? What is he up to?
Even though it was kind of mustache twirly and stuff like that.
But it kind of sucked,
something
though.
was coming.
But it still sucked, though. It still sucked.
I thought it got better once he revealed what his plan was, and I was like, thank you. Now I feel I'm talking to Ego. I don't feel like I'm just talking to some random Stark. Was a Starman?
Well, that was Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, no, I was like, that's what I felt like watching this. Was like,
he kind of reminded me of freaking Charlton Heston in the 10 Commandments.
Very true.
The big old beard and stuff.
Very true.
But Kurt also played it anyway.
I
He
will
played
go
for
Jeff Bridges Starman.
Okay, well,
Jeff Bridges was in Tron.
and Star-Lord's mom calls him Starman.
All ties together.
All tied together. Starhawk was a character that Sylvester Stallone played, and that was actually a pretty good character. And it was good to see Sly join in the Marvel.
I wanted him to do more.
Now, okay. Well, let's first of all,
I would have been better if he'd have been part of the Nova Corps.
This movie has five. This movie has 5 post-credit scenes,
yes.
which has been a pain in the ass when it comes to clean theaters because the people stay there forever.
Yes.
But anyway, one of the post-credit scenes shows characters, different characters.
They show the original,
Guardians.
Yeah.
That consisted of Starhawk, which played by. Sylvester Stallone.
Yes.
Ving Rhames, Charlie 27.
Yeah.
Michelle Yeoh, Aletta. Michael Rosenbaum, Don't Call Me Lex. Was Martin X.
Right.
Which is that Mexican? Martinez, but X. All right. And surprisingly enough, Miley Cyrus voicing Mainframe.
I bet you because it seems like they're gonna kind of carry this over to Guardians 3. I bet you they recast her.
No, I bet you they'll keep her because of the name.
Her.
You look at you get name recognition with Bradley Cooper and Vin Diesel, and it freaking hypes it up. Now you got Miley Cyrus, Mrs. freaking Wrecking Ball herself, playing Mainframe. Come on,
this is our Guardians bet. I say she gets recast by Guardians 3.
Your bet. You saw it right here. All right, and then you got a CGI of Krugar.
Yes.
Krugar. Okay.
He was the coolest character that we saw on screen. It was like the whole thing when he was doing like almost the Doctor Strange.
and that's what they actually say, that he's actually tied to that. That's
a way for them to bring in magic and space.
Yeah. What? Like Doctor Strange. So anyway, they may return. They may return for future Marvel shows or spin off and have their own. Which one do you want to see?
I don't want to see them have their own. I would like them to show up as a cameo for something. But there's nothing else that they have.
I wouldn't want them to do cameo. I would actually want them to do bit players.
Like one player into they can add.
They're like a team that kind of like saves the team, but they don't have like their whole movie. They Han Solo it.
So what other? They don't have another show that's based in space.
Doctor Strange.
Barely.
Okay.
Dormammu's in space. Yeah, it's fine.
So you'd rather see them in bit parts then, and not
like a cameo in something else. It's like
them stealing shit like Slice.
Exactly. It was like they steal something in Guardians 3. Whatever.
So another
they help out in Guardians 3.
Another character that's in Guardians is Howard the Duck.
Why do they keep shoehorning him in this thing?
Now Seth Green reprises his role as Howard the Duck. And
wait, hold on. I take back my bet because they still brought Seth Green back for Howard the Duck. And they're gonna bring him on. I said, oh god,
yeah.
I lost.
Yep. Live Oak, please. Live Oak Cafe. So Howard the Duck is in this movie. He was in a Easter egg actually at the. He was in a post-credit scene of the first Guardians, and he actually makes a little bit of lines, a little bit more lines in this one. Do you want to see a reboot of Howard the Duck?
No.
Can Tim Robbins come out in it?
No. No. We were watching the thing earlier, and we had a discussion. It was like they were borderline bestiality in that movie, and it was like, is Disney really going to go down this route? Is Marvel going to go down this route?
Well, they beat in the Beast.
You know what? You're right. You are absolutely right, sir. So why am I talking? Yes, bring back Howard the Duck.
All right.
Howard the Duck that serves no purpose.
Another
character. Bring back the Play Duck magazine. The topless duck in the bathtub.
Was it horrible that I got in trouble on that?
I think a lot of people did.
All right. Another character that's really big in the Marvel universe is Stan Lee. Now you see him in all these freaking cameos. Now it's not just the Marvel movies that Disney owns. He also does cameos in the X-Men movies. He does cameo in Deadpool and Spider-Man for Sony. A bunch of cameos that this man has done. Mm-hmm. Well, in this one he is shown in 2 scenes. He is shown in a kind of like the jump that they're doing, and he's in there and he's talking to these aliens, and these aliens turn out to be the Watchers that actually watch over the galaxy. So the question was like, within what's Stan Lee's part? Is it just a cameo or what? Well, the truth is that his cameos in all of them are potentially tied to the Watchers,
right,
where he is an informant,
right,
for the Watchers. What do you think about that?
They can't use Uatu because Uatu is technically owned by Fox, under the Fantastic Four.
Because originally they said that's who he was,
which would have been great if he had been Uatu, because Uatu watches over our part of the universe. So, but it's a way that they can kind of reference Uatu because Fox ain't using them, and still not use the name to say like, oh, he's Stan Lee, just kind of like he's their agent type deal. I think it's a great tie-in because people have speculated on that for years since the MCU's been doing all the cameos with Stan Lee forever. It's like, hey, he's probably a Watcher. It's great for them to say, hey, you know what? You guys, we're going to do this for you. We're going to make this awesome. But also, too, it technically ties in every universe now because it ties Deadpool, Fox, it ties everything except for Fantastic Four.
Well, that's still in the air, but Fan4stick. But
Fan4stick, it didn't tie because it ties Fantastic Four. It doesn't tie Fan4stick.
Exactly. So he is the informant tells the Watchers what the Avengers are doing, what the X-Men are doing.
Right.
Now,
the Watchers
it's
not supposed to interfere.
It's a possibility. Now, if Sony can play nice with Marvel and give them Spider-Man, why can't Fox do the same thing? If that were to happen,
Fox is still making money.
But if that were to happen, who's to say that this does not set up Phase 4 or Phase 5 Avengers versus X-Men? That would be freaking amazing.
They would do Avengers versus Inhumans first before they even did that.
And in that regard, if you ever were to have an X-Men versus Avengers, you'd have to have Hugh Jackman back.
You'd have to have him back. But if you think about,
would he do it?
If you think about Fox's because they're going to expand it out with X-Force.
But do you think maybe? Yeah, because Cable time travels. Who's to say?
Of course he would. He's been waiting for a crossover film. Of course he would. He's waiting for Deadpool crossover film, and it's like he's been waiting for a crossover film. That's what he wants. That's the little teenage boy inside of him. And it was like, this would be so cool if we did this. He's ready to do this. Now, if that or Deadpool comes first, that's whichever one he's gonna do. If Deadpool does it and he does it and just moves on, that'll probably be it. We never see him back again. But if they don't do it and then this comes up first, then he'll definitely jump at this. No, he was going to do the walk-on for the Avengers.
Very true. Very true.
So, I mean, he wants to do a crossover. Let him do a crossover. Make Hugh Jackman happy.
So the directing. We did not talk about directing.
Oh, we didn't talk about directing.
So we're going to talk about directing. James Gunn is the director from the first one. He returned for this one and recently announced that he's going to be doing Volume 3. I thought that he did a good job with this movie in some of the directions, with the exception of having some jokes go too long, not really elaborating. As far as that contributing to the plot, that was a little too much. The only thing that I really got, that I did not agree with, was not tying it in, because these guys are going to be in Infinity War. I saw nothing that ties this to Infinity War. Nothing. There was no Infinity Stone. There was no mention of anything. I mean, Ego mentions it briefly about him holding it, but other than that, we don't talk about it. So I don't know how it ties.
He specifically asked for it to be separate, and it's one of those things where when we actually get time to where I'm assuming that they're going to include them into the Infinity War, that when we get that far, it's going to be so shoehorned in. It's going to be like that last Guardians of the... brace yourself. Volume 3 of Guardians of the Galaxy, it's going to be so much Marvel tie-in, cameo stuff. They're going to shoehorn everything in so they can make sure it ties in.
And
y'all are going to hate it.
And that's what I didn't like about it.
Because James Gunn.
We were talking about Hugh Jackman.
James Gunn. He wanted this to stay separate. He likes the fact that he has his whole freedom to not have to make sure it fits in their universe, and that's why it worked for Guardians 1. That's why he enjoyed it for Guardians 2. And since he's coming back for 3, they're gonna make him shoehorn everything.
But the Collector was part of Thor, so
but it was a minor part. So did you want another? You wanted another cameo of Thanos sitting in the chair?
You tied it, though, is what I'm saying. There was a brief tie. It might have not been that much, but they briefly tied it. This one tied nothing. It tied nothing. The only thing that it looks like it's tying to is in one of the post-credit scenes is the introduction of Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
Who is potentially going to be in Volume 3. So it ties.
Who was supposed to be in Volume 2, to be honest. They had to cut him out.
It brings in, Volume 3 tie, but nothing for Avengers, and they're going to be in it next year. And they just finished their freaking scenes.
And technically, if you want to look at it like further into comic books, it was like Adam Warlock actually wielded the Infinity Gauntlet, so you can kind of say that's a tie-in. Maybe he might go up because for what the MCU has set up right now, Adam Warlock would be like a Superman-ish character. So outside of Captain Marvel, for what they have set up right now, he is like he's a superpowered character that could go up against Thanos. Though he has played both sides as villain and as hero, so it looks like they're going to set him up as the villain going into Volume 3. But he has been a hero going in the actual comic book. So. And like I say, he's wielded the Infinity Gauntlet, so maybe that's their time.
Maybe.
I mean, it's. I mean, you have to really know.
So did you like Gunn's direction?
You know what? When I got done watching it, I said to myself, because I remember we were on a podcast, and I said, "Let Gunn control his franchise." And I was like,
and his French fries.
His French fries. Let him control his franchise. Don't push him out. Don't
create freedom.
Don't Brett Ratner him, and
don't David Ayers him. What are you talking about?
And have somebody else take over the franchise. Let him do what he wants to do and let him finish it out. Now I'm kind of hoping that they switch him out in Volume 3. I want to see something different.
Well, he's already in.
I know he's already in, but it's like all he did was like, I'm gonna do the same stuff that I did in Volume 1, and I'm just gonna give you more of it. And that's why I was a little bit like, I didn't want to see more of what I saw. I like the freshness of what I saw in the first one, and I kind of want to see what else you could do.
Well,
though I did like what he did with the characters. There was just a lot of mistakes that I felt he did with the story that I didn't like.
And and credit the actors for saving it with the characters, because if it would have been anybody else, I don't think that the movie would have worked. It would have been Blair Witch 2 again.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. Oh. So the movie was budgeted.
That was different.
The movie was budgeted at $200 million worldwide. So far, it's made $450 million. So it is on its way, definitely, to being one of the top blockbusters of the summer. And Groot toys skyrocketing right now. I'm saying right now,
make so much money. So much money. Though I am curious about Teenage Groot.
Yeah, and Teenage
Groot. We're talking about post-credit scenes, right? We're gonna talk about all post-credit scenes.
Well, the post-credit scenes. I mean, you got your first
Teenage Groot.
Teenage Groot. I thought that was pretty freaking hilarious.
That was hilarious.
When he says, "Now I know how Yondu felt." That was pretty funny.
The other post-credit scene was we talked about the Watchers. We talked about Adam Warlock, and so there's two more.
And then we talked about the Sarhawk and the original Guardians.
So the original Guardian. Oh, maybe we did cover them all.
Yeah, because the other one was Kragan, or what's his name? Kragan. He was messing with the arrow.
Yeah, with the arrows. Are we gonna see him as a Yondu?
Probably.
Oh God.
Probably.
And that's James Gunn's brother.
So I mean, he's got a role for life there.
Oh God.
And then of course the Stanley, and then the Adam Warlock. That rounded out everything.
So overall feelings, what do you feel about this film?
Overall feelings, you gotta go see this movie. You're a fan of the first one, go see this movie. There's gonna be some limitations to what if you're like, as far as high hopes, don't get your hopes high on this movie.
Yes, lower them.
Lower your expectations a little bit, because you're not gonna get the originality and the freshness of the first one, but you're gonna get the first one. Does that make sense?
Yes. Like I said, there was a dance scene and stuff like that. It was like he was really trying to relive the first one, and I'm like, because with the whole Groot name, it's like he set up.
Not as bad as ID4.
Oh,
two.
Goodness. So my overall feelings is that like you said, taper expectations. My expectations for this film were way high, especially after watching the trailers. My expectations were like way up here, and I walked out disappointed. And I know the rest of the world loves this movie. Rotten Tomatoes,
I love this movie.
Super high, but I walked out so disappointed. It wasn't what I wanted. It was and this is a guy who loves The Force Awakens, but it was too much of the same, and like it didn't work for me. It didn't work. I don't hate the movie and I don't dislike the movie. Watch it for consistency for the Marvel.
I don't think that's. I don't
hate it. I don't hate it. It just wasn't what I wanted. I wanted something else. I wanted something new. And like I said, whatever scene they had for Adam Warlock, they should have put it in and took out the Sovereign scene. They should have jumped that post-credit scene to earlier into this movie and gave me an Adam Warlock scene. They should have gave me less of the talk about why he hung out on different planets with Ego and went straight to like his nefarious plan at the end. I have you here, Star-Lord. Blah blah, rubbing Birdman, rubbing hands. I should have got that earlier, and
I don't think you should have. I don't think you should compare it to Force Awakens, though.
No, I'm just saying. What I'm saying is, as far as Force Awakens is like, they gave me A New Hope,
but they didn't give you. They gave
me A New Hope.
No, but see, and that's where
they gave
completely different subject. But I just got to say this real quick. That's a part 7, bro. It's a part 7.
Okay.
If
so by then they can go back.
Exactly. They go back.
On a part 2, you can't be going back.
Right, and they didn't. Empire is the best sequel ever made. So this one is not one of those best sequels ever made.
Not the best sequel ever made.
It is good. I liked it. I really do. If I have to give it out of 5 stars, I'll probably give it 3.5. I really think that's a fair.
I think it's an okay movie.
Yeah, it's okay. I thought it was a great movie.
All right.
leave your comments below and let us know what you think about this movie.
How you guys felt about this film, because I am curious.
Yeah. Our next spoiler review will probably be Alien Covenant. That's going to be coming out May 19th, so look for our review for that coming out pretty soon.
Wait for that one.
Yeah, that's going to probably be having the exact same conversation with that one too.
I don't know if I'll do a non-spoiler for that one. Maybe I'll wait too, because I enjoy doing the spoiler reviews with you, because we actually can sit and talk about it in depth. I have to dance around so much.
Well, I watch your videos, and there's like, man, and I'm yelling at you in the screen, and I'm like, that's bullshit, man.
I have to dance around so much stuff, and I can't explain why I don't like things as much. I have to generalize it and say like, okay, well, I didn't like this area that they were doing or this direction that they were taking it, and I can't tell you exactly what about that direction I don't like, so I have to generalize everything in a non-spoiler review. So if you watch movies ahead of time, then we can do spoiler reviews and we can just get it out the way. So if he watches it early enough, then we'll do a spoiler review. If not, I'll do a non-spoiler review, and then whenever he gets around to watching the film, we'll actually do a spoiler review. But
man,
make sure you guys like and comment down below. So like you said, let us know what you guys thought about this film, and any of the other reviews that we have out there. Please tell us what you guys thought, because I kind of like getting your input on what you guys do as film viewers as well. And then make sure you subscribe, so that way you know about all the other videos that we do as well. We do Top 5, we do the Goods Podcast, You Don't Hate, and Rule of 2 whenever there's some Star Wars news.
Yeah, we're way behind on that. And Dropkicking the Beauty, I think we do that show
every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
I said I think we should get another wrestling host to help out with that one. But
oh man. Anyway, for Aspen at home, I'm Manny.
I'm Terrence.
And we'll see you next time.
Remember what I say for reviews? Oh yeah, hey guys, welcome back to the show and this week's movie review.
So beach. How's that? You good? All right. 3, 2, 1. Man, what is in this shit here?
Oh shit, right.
Fix me another drink, bitch. Another banana cognac, bitch.